Okay. We're back. Had a little technical glitch. The internet just completely died on us for some reason. I had to go do some troubleshooting and we got it back up. So we are live, guys. And I know right before we got into the intros, it kind of conked out. So I'm going to get into it now. You're here with us. You're watching Young Lion TV. We appreciate you. If you're in the chat right now, make sure you guys hit that like button. Wait for people to get back in here. Hit the like button. Share this video with your friends. This is the Young Lion TV podcast that we've been doing for years now. We started this thing out when we were younger men, just trying to show the world the conversations that we used to have because we kind of grew up together. And like I always like to say, you know, we learned things along the way. And a lot of it, we wish we had older mentors to kind of walk us through and show us the errors in our ways in a lot of sense when we were younger men and the things that we were being captured by and the spells that we were putting ourselves under and the traps we were falling for. So we started having these conversations live to give that example, if not only for, you know, the community and for other young men that might stumble upon our conversations, but also something that we can even have for our children, because I mean we're pretty much making a catalog of conversations on topics and things like that that we can point our own kids to show like we were talking about these things before. And we've seen culture change in a lot of ways since we started this thing, so we're appreciative for that. So again, if you want to support this community, the Young Lions, the people that we love, the it's not just us here in the studio, it's those that are members of the Patreon, it's those that are family members, the Young Lions that come to our shows. We are a real community. So if you want to join that, if you want to become a part of that, you can do that on the Patreon, which the link is in the description, or you can the cash app tag is in the description as well. You can hit that as well. And also, yeah, if you want to support and get the merch, you can get that on our band's website, Jatan, which that link is in the description as well. But back to who I got with me this evening. Of course, you know, I got the coolest Asian in the podcast world. He's here. He's Mr. Simone Chang. What up, bro? And then I got my big brother, but he's everybody's big brother. If you know him, you know that. He's Mr. Jacob Eugene Evans III. And of course, you know, holding down the production, she's going to hit the right camera this time. She is our mother, and we love her, Miss Angelique Lopez in the building. And I am holding down the clips and the navigation of these streams and trying to make sure the internet stays up. Mr. Jamie Evans over here running the computer. So yeah, without further ado, you know, we're waiting for our brother, our half Indian, half black brother to call in. The most confusing man. Let me unmute y'all mics. The most confusing man.
I thought I didn't hear myself. That's how he do. That's how Jamie does this.
Well, you know, during the intro. Well, no, I usually do unmute right there, but then I got thrown off because I had to run.
You should unmute us because we're always, when you do the intro, we always sidetrack and then we forget to do the intro.
Right. That's why that's good. I keep y'all mics muted so you can't derail the conversation from the jump. What did James say? Did James say he's getting on there?
He said he is. That was a little bit ago.
Okay.
I don't know.
My phone is like slow as heck. I don't know if y'all's the same. It's like, look, frosty.
Yeah, mine too.
Usually, if he's on there, we'll hear him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, let us know. Text us when you're on there waiting in the waiting room, James, and we'll bring you in. But yeah. Other than that, man, what's been going on, y'all? The weekend is come and gone.
I have a niece.
Oh, the congratulations, man.
Congrats.
That's big news. Big news.
I'm so excited.
There's a new little mixed baby in the crew.
Little prince.
It's funny. We all met up. What was it? Friday?
Was it
Friday night? We all met up
Yeah.
and went to the Hang Sang Noodle House. Just like on a whim, you hit me up and was like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna go there if y'all want to go." So it was all right, we'll go. Then we get there. Stan shows up with his kids, and Nana's there, and all the kids are there. We're like, "Yo, this is the most mixed group of people in the world." And then all of our kids Like
They had to sit together because, of course, I didn't call.
yeah. There's 12 of us, and he don't call to like make sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a huge place.
You know.
But
But they accommodated us.
they did, and they were nice about it. I mean, they're busy, so they're happy to be getting the business.
And the food is good.
Food is good, man.
It's
the first Cambodian spot in South Jersey.
Yes. It's not all. It's not like you know. It's a noodle house.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's more catered towards like you know.
Yeah.
The food industry.
Right.
It's not a lot of weird Khmer food. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They had beef sticks though.
It's safe for people that like pho. And
Right.
that like you can go there and eat and not find anything that's like off-putting or too far out of that realm. So they kept it safe in that way. They got the beef sticks, they got the spring rolls and all of that.
Yeah.
And the noodle dishes.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's like I would say authentically Khmer is like the fact that there's pork liver and like they have the blood cake and stuff like that you can get in the different...
Which is, you know, for them to advertise the Phnom Penh Katil.
Right.
That has all that stuff in there.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Right. But you have to read the details to know that.
Right.
Because if you just read the name...
Well, they could tell that if they get it, they're eating liver. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's good though.
Yeah.
I actually never had like I don't know if I told you I never had it. I never had the dry noodle type. I always had it like you know
like the soup.
The soup.
Yeah.
That was good. That was something new to me.
I've never had that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if we're actually because for me it keeps freezing.
No, we're like I can see it. We're here. I'm here watching it.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. It says live, but it's just like it's frozen.
I think that's probably y'all service.
Because I'll go to something else and it'll show it. So, it's weird.
Yeah, that is weird. What is it showing when you go to ours?
It's frozen and then
this.
Oh, okay.
And then.
Yeah, but mine is working.
Bro, it's the same thing for me. Look, I go to something else.
It's working.
Oh no! Wait a minute. No, hers is.
For me, yeah, I go to something else and it's working. So I don't know. It's weird.
Anyways, y'all let us know.
Mine is working, bro. See,
Yeah, yours.
yeah, but no, I'm saying I'm looking at the caption. It's us talking about how it's not working. So
Yeah, it's weird.
yeah,
No comments.
yeah, but
We just
let us know if you see us. Yeah, shout out to Amber on YouTube. She said it's clean on YouTube. Thank you. We appreciate that for letting us know. But
yeah, that was pretty cool though. That you know that they opened my place that's fairly close.
yeah,
I go to that plaza all the time.
me too. I was there yesterday getting some Asian groceries.
That supermarket is very clean. I like going there.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. It's one of the better ones. You don't feel like you're in Chinatown in some fish market or something.
Yes.
You know, a lot of them like
I'm not gonna name any names.
Yeah,
but
like you walk in
go
there,
there,
it's
be
like
smack you in the face with fish smell.
yeah. I don't want.
Where are you guys talking about?
Hangbang
Oh,
on Brace Road.
oh, that's not that close to y'all.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Well, to you, I guess. But Ramon is kind of further away.
Nah, I'm not that far,
Nah.
bro. I get there
It
in like
takes-
15.
Yeah, it don't take long to get to his house from here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't get invites. So
you're always busy.
Right? You probably had 2-3 practices that night.
now done soccer.
Oh, you're done completely?
Yeah,
Oh.
done this week. So I won't be. This whole month I'll be done, and then we start again.
Then you're back on
when
again.
I come back from vacation.
Puerto Rico. Dang, you get a couple weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot.
I see you you wrote a comment in there just to see if it was
Yeah.
working. Okay.
I don't see it.
I see it. I think it's just the service. I think it's just the service.
Yeah, but I mean, let's just
It says it's 2 people.
we'll go and then we'll see what happens.
All right. Still waiting for James. Let me text him because maybe he's not seeing it.
I got that text right away.
Yeah. He says he's on. All right. Let me see if I can pull him up.
Oh, you made it?
Yes.
Oh.
Can you click on him?
Just clicked on him, but
You don't see
his
him?
box there, but I don't see him.
Okay. Let me see if I can get it up.
I've been trying to send text messages and this. I don't know what's going on.
Hey, there he is. Hey,
What's up?
James?
Good. How are you?
You have a beard? Okay. Right, because it's hard to see because of your shadow.
Yeah.
So I'm like, does he have just a mustache?
I can't see because the chair is in my way.
Really?
Really?
Maybe it's because maybe turn your phone the other way.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's better anyway for us, for our shot. Can you tilt it up a little bit more so we can see your?
Yeah. All we see is there go that shiny head.
There he goes.
Hmm. That's where my hairline used to be.
All right. We in there.
You know, I still have the Eddie Munster Photoshop picture.
You better believe it. I was holding on.
I'm gonna try something new.
So what's up, man? How you feeling? You said you wasn't feeling good today.
Yeah, no, I have like a little like a little throat, like a little scratchiness in my throat, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep that
So
over
I
there.
wasn't. Yeah, I yeah. Monday was not the best.
Oh boy.
Were you working through that
Yeah,
too?
yeah. I was working. I went down to the shore. I was doing the electric thing, so I was by myself. Yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. But yeah,
I
I didn't want
gotta
to call
get you
out.
to work on my house, bro.
Well, listen, I know a little. I don't want to make it sound like I'm an electrician now. You'll hire me, and then
Nah, we need you to.
nothing
We
works.
want you to rewire everything. Come on, come on, man.
I'll pay you.
Like
I'll pay you,
I know,
man.
I know the basics. I know the
Okay,
basics.
that's all you need to know.
Until you ain't got no lights, then you're like,
Man, James ruined my whole house, man.
right? Yeah.
So what's been going on, man? How was your weekend?
Weekend's good, man. You know, went to the zoo with the kids with the neighbors. Chilled. It was rainy and crappy. I think that's why I got like touching everything in the zoo. I think that's why I
Yeah,
got it. You know.
yeah,
You went
man.
to the animal jail.
Oh yeah,
Which one,
and
Philly?
hi mom. They're under construction, so it's like it was good, but it wasn't that great. You know.
You went
Yeah,
to Philadelphia or
Yeah,
Cape May?
Philadelphia. Yeah. No, Philadelphia. Yep.
Bro, I
But
look
it
at
was fun.
the last time I went, I felt so bad for the gorilla.
really.
Like I felt his soul. Like, what is my life right now?
Oh
It's
no.
just in like a confined
Yeah,
space, you know.
yeah. That's the life of the zoo, man.
Man, they're living. You know, I know it's restrictive, but man, they get great treatment. Those animals there.
Do
You know.
they? I haven't been to the
Yeah.
zoo in
Oh,
years, man.
I mean they're locked up, but like, dude, they're most of them are born in captivities. They don't really
Yeah, so they
capture
don't
any
know.
wild. They don't know. Yeah, they wouldn't even survive if you. One of the girls like said that really what they do is they actually trade with other zoos. So if there's an animal in one zoo that needs to be relocated, they'll do that. But they're all
Okay.
born here. Yeah.
Right.
And another thing I learned while I was there was the United States has the most tigers, even more than the wild.
I did. I remember. I
Oh,
remember
really?
learning that from Tiger King.
Tiger King,
Yeah.
I forgot about
I
that
remember
guy.
learning that from watching Tiger King. He's mad at Trump, by the way.
He's
Did you
mad
hear
at
about
Trump?
that? Yeah,
No.
because he was expecting Trump to pardon him, and Trump pardoned like all these black rappers. He was like, I can't get no pardon. Yeah, Tiger King's mad at Trump. Yeah. But all right, man, let's get into some stuff. We started a little late. The internet went out on us. It's already 8:55. All right, so speaking of Trump, over the weekend, of course, it's funny how this works, right? Like everyone kind of is chill until the weather gets nice, and then all of a sudden they got a lot to protest about. They got they got a lot on their mind, right? It's like if it rains, the protests end, but if the weather's nice, they're out there, in full
Wilding
force.
out.
And they got they getting masks and signs and all kind of stuff given to them, and they're just able to afford all of these things.
James, real quick.
Yep.
While you're not talking, can you mute up?
Sure.
Yeah, we're hearing.
And
Yeah,
then
we're
when
hearing
you talk-
conversation.
Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, but so over the weekend, riots kind of broke out, especially through LA. A lot of people were mad about the deportations that have been happening. They've been happening for months now, but all of a sudden they decide it's time to riot and protest about it because it's coordinated. Of course, they want to try to pull off another. 5 years ago we had the George Floyd protests, which were very effective. So they're looking to recreate that right now with the immigrants, though. So let's play a little bit of this right here. Okay, why is that showing up like that? That should not be coming up like that. Let me see. Oh, that's why. I got it. Yeah, the internet thing really messed me up. All right, let's check it now. Boom. Okay.
The protests are spreading to cities across the country right now, from California to Dallas and Atlanta, Louisville, and New York. Many protesters say it's time to take a stand against the Trump administration's policy. Heavy-handed and heartless enforcement. The protests are spreading to cities across the country right now, from California to Dallas and Atlanta, Louisville, and New York. Many protesters say it's time to take a stand against the Trump administration's policies and what they feel are heavy-handed and heartless enforcement.
So again, I just wanted to show, like, all of a sudden they decide it's time to take a stand. Weather's getting nice all over the country. It's easy to coordinate.
Pride Month isn't really hitting
Pride
the
Month,
way it used to.
Pride Month
Not
ain't
hitting,
priding like it
It
used
ain't
to.
pride.
So yeah, they are in. They got to figure something else out right now. But the crazy thing about this is, like, this. That this is a very weird situation, because when you look at the polling numbers and when you look at the side that most of the people are on, the one thing that Trump is definitely winning on, like he kind of missed with tariffs, like that was kind of messy. You know, the Doge thing kind of was all. Some people were for it, some people, but the immigration thing has been solidly on his side. That was like one of the key issues that he won on, and I think like even now it's like an 80-20 issue pretty much, where people are against removing illegal immigrants from the country and, you know, having a strong border again, because they see what's going on. They see people shouldn't just be coming over here, you know, all willy-nilly. And CNN even had they did some new polling to show, you know, how popular this still is amongst people. Check this out.
So Donald Trump, the president, picking a fight on this, and to an extent, you see Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, a Democrat, and the California Governor Gavin Newsom pushing back. So what do voters see in terms of their perceptions of Republicans, the president, or Democrats, say Gavin Newsom, on this issue?
Yeah, the American electorate believe that the Democrats don't have a clue on the issue of immigration. I mean, you could just take it here. Closer to trust more in immigration, Democrats versus Republicans. Got 3 different polls for you across the board. They all tell the same story. Republicans lead on the issue of immigration. You see it here, CBS +6. You see it here, CNN +6. You see it here, Ipsos, even bigger, +19. No matter what poll you look at, no matter which way you cut it, the American public is with the Republicans, the American public is with Donald Trump, and to a much greater extent than they were in term number 1. And it's not just on the broad issue of immigration, it's on the specifics as well, in which the American public is with Donald Trump and the Republicans, and that is why Donald Trump is eager to take on this fight and eager for those scenes out of Los Angeles.
So, yeah, people are pointing this out, that the fact that, you know, Donald Trump is going to lean into what's happening in LA, these riots. Like they're saying, like, of course he's calling in the National Guard. Of course he's like pushing back heavily against Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, because they're not with the public on this. He's winning on this issue so much that optically, like, he can lean all the way into this and people are not going to care. It's not going to mess with his approval rating. Like I don't understand why Gavin Newsom is acting like, you know, he wants to go, because remember when he was trying to do the podcast thing, he was trying to make himself seem more center. But I think because primaries are coming up, like people, you know, the New Jersey primary was today, the California primary is coming up. Like they have to get their base. The Democrats seem to be like turning into this far left cult at this point. Like, you can't even exist in the Democratic Party unless you're far left. Like, AOC just endorsed that dude, that Muslim dude for New York. I don't know if you saw that. He's like a communist. She just went out and endorsed him.
Well, I think, like you just said, based. They're base, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're fear-based.
Yeah.
Like, you really see it with them. They're fear-based. Like, they don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
They only stand for what they think the people on the left will stand for. But then those people that are on the left are getting less and less because it's going too far left.
Right.
For a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't pay attention. I mean, we talked about this before. Like, they don't pay attention to what the American people want.
Right.
It's like they try to push stuff that people don't want.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild, dude.
And people are recognizing the hypocrisy of the left when it comes to this. I was just looking for this article right here. A South Carolina woman, black woman, Larisha Sherelle Thompson, was killed by 3 undocumented illegal immigrants.
Dudes.
Yeah.
And people have been pointing that out, ages 13, 14, and 15. She was murdered by them, shot and killed. And that has been a silent story. There is no Benjamin Crump. There is no Al Sharpton.
Yeah, where are they?
It's not been on the media. And people have been pointing this out because there's no justice for this woman, because the narrative that, because for a long time people have been saying they're not here to commit crimes. They're here to work and participate. And that's kind of what the spin of the left was. And so I've seen on my social media platform, I've seen a lot of black people speaking out and saying, we finally get it. It is only bad when a black person is killed by a white cop, and they can spin that narrative and kind of keep it going. This, have you guys heard about This young lady.
Well,
Yeah.
I have because of X.
Right.
I've seen
Yeah,
the
I've
news
seen that
story.
story.
I
Yeah.
haven't.
Right. And that has been quieted down. And specifically, they have been calling out the liberal blacks who pander towards and look for those type of stories because
Mm-hmm.
for a long time it was like, no, they're just trying to look for jobs. They're not trying to do anything. And then this story is buried by the liberal media. You haven't heard anything about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they did the same
And
thing with Lake and Riley and all these other stories that Trump tried to highlight at the speech because the media won't talk about it, so he had to shed light to it. But this one, like you said, this shows the hypocrisy of even the black gatekeepers and like the BLMs and these pundits on liberal media who rush to
right.
blame everything on racism and how the black man is affected and how like the black women are the most vulnerable population. But when it's something that can't be weaponized against the Republicans, they don't want to talk about it.
And that's what has happened. They
Right.
buried the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's how you see, like you said, hypocrisy, but even deeper, I would say like this false love narrative. And
Yeah.
I think people are starting to see like, oh, you don't really care.
Yeah.
Because it
Yes.
only makes sense when it's this certain narrative, right? And yeah, so love is just in all ways.
Yeah.
Love it. Like true equity is how to measure things out based on the context.
Yeah.
Right. So this is what we're missing because they're always trying to spin the context.
Yep.
To
Right.
fit their own narrative. Context is about the story, what's going on,
Right.
why did it happen.
Something else that really got black people kind of mad about these riots in LA. Not for one that they're expecting black people to get involved. That's one thing. Like they're like making them feel bad if they don't join in on these protests. And then on top of that, like they destroyed the Kobe mural with him and his daughter. And people were really upset about that.
Yeah.
And again, what is at the root of that? That's intimidation. It's fear.
Yeah.
It always goes back to that, right?
But it's the same tactic, and I think what it does is it shed lights on like, okay, I remember when we were behaving like this towards other people. Now I see what they were saying. Because you're tearing down their monuments too, that they care about because you don't really care. So now you're seeing that, okay, this black and brown narrative, it only works when they want us to unite again for a cause for them together.
Yeah. And that's why it's not real justice because if you're only looking at it one way and then it doesn't fit you anymore, now you're going to feel slighted.
Yeah.
And that's what always happens. Like when we're playing this virtue signaling, blame game / victim mentality where my victim is greater than your victim. Hood.
Yeah.
Right? It's nobody ever really wins.
Yeah.
It just becomes this pointing of the finger.
Right.
Literally over and over and over again. So it just goes deeper and deeper into depravity.
Right.
And it becomes a mess.
But
And this is what we're
sometimes it
seeing.
takes stuff like this for you to, again, have that spell broken where you're like, oh, this is all just a game. Like, let me not fall for this anymore.
Right. They don't care.
Yeah.
And the people who are doing it obviously don't care. Are they thinking about the communities
No.
that they're destroying? The people, like, how many cars are destroyed and they have nothing to do with it? I saw stuff with Mexican women, running out of their cars with their babies.
Yeah, I saw that.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and
And
they might be.
And it's a peaceful. What do you mean?
And they're lying about it
Yeah,
constantly. I want to show this video that I edited a video together, posted it up on our social media, just showing how the media was like totally lying about this.
How do they feel like how are you reporting this and not knowing that real footage is gonna come out?
Dude, they don't care because they know that their fan base is going to listen to whatever. It's just like 5 years ago. Remember remember the guy?
How are you? How
guy-
are you a reporter and have some type of integrity as a reporter knowing that you're telling lies
Because they don't
it's
have
okay.
They don't have
there is no
integrity.
That's
integrity.
wild.
It's about protect my team no matter
Yeah.
what.
If you don't have, if you're, think about it. Like before, they used to tout like the integrity of reporters,
Journalism, yeah.
journalism, because it's connected to a law. Like this is what we stand by. Okay, it's not there anymore. What do they stand by? Money.
Right.
So they're going by. Now they're afraid. So their fear is if we stop making money, we lose.
Yeah, if we stop telling our fan base what they want to hear, we'll lose them to whoever they're going to listen to.
We're going to lose our sponsors or
Yeah.
advertisement, right? So there's this, you're always looking in the wrong way at things. And then at the same time, the people who they are upholding to are the ones that only care about making themselves feel good in their to justify themselves in being angry.
Right.
They don't really care about the truth.
Yeah.
They care about their truth.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how you can go for 4 years and pretend like you didn't know Joe Biden
Yeah.
wasn't in mental decline.
So that creates that echo chamber.
Yeah.
That you're just like, we're just speaking to, I'm afraid because I need you. But then they need you.
Right.
They need the reporters or the ones that are telling them this to solidify who they are inside.
But then once they don't need it, they don't need you anymore, and now they're brave to tell the truth.
Yeah,
and write a whole tell-all book about how it's a big cover-up, because they don't need you anymore, And not only that, the elites are okay with it because they want to put all the blame on Joe Biden so that they can skate by and act like they had nothing to do with it. But let's play this video because it got a lot of views, and I was able to edit in. And also, there's a lot about it, like James was talking about. I was able to find a lot of like black content creators talking about how they ain't with this. So I'll play this.
The American dream and the California dream. There's no Alabama dream.
Today's demonstrations remained peaceful. Most of the crowds, again, that I saw, that I spoke to, that I was interacting with, these are peaceful people that want to get their message across.
The vast majority of these actions have been peaceful, and that there are lots of folks just trying to be heard on the streets in and around LA.
You have a number of, it appears, peaceful protesters. We didn't see any weapons or sticks or anything.
So far, everything here is peaceful. Some peaceful demonstrators.
People are demonstrating, and there's a lot of peaceful demonstration.
Eat your heart out, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. This is California.
It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation.
You have illegals.
It's so funny how they spun that.
They're
just having fun watching cars burn. But if Trump brings the military in, he's going to be the one responsible for escalating it. Keep in mind, they're already throwing rocks through moving police vehicles that could kill someone.
Yeah,
they're throwing rocks at one of the. I know a federal officer got his hand busted up because a guy was on the side of the road throwing rocks through cars as they were driving by, and I think they're investigating him. The FBI found him, and there was tons of people looting, burning cars. They burnt all those Waymo cars. Now the whole Waymo fleet is leaving LA.
Yeah, if we can go back a little bit.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we played clips when the initial migrant thing started, when they were calling them asylum seekers.
Yeah.
And the narrative was being spun on the term. Gone was undocumented, gone was illegal. It was
citizens.
It was asylum seekers. And we pointed out on this channel where there was a mass of young men coming over the border.
Yeah,
it wasn't so much women and children. There was a groups of. We saw a video chain long lines of young men, military age men coming in under the border, and we said, this is not by happenstance. This is the plan.
Right.
All right. There's no way all these men, and to be fair, we were showing there was men from Africa, there were men from China, there was all different groups. This is not a Latino thing,
right,
or a Mexican thing, but we were pointing out that there was something in these videos that was people were missing, which the news weren't spinning because the news was showing different clips. It was the internet that was showing a mass group of young men. And people say, oh, no big deal. And now I think that now people are getting, because most of the crime, most of the violence are by young men. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, and I was looking for something because I had a video. There was something else that we showed about 5 years ago, almost exactly, when they were talking about how they were going to hit the streets and protest. And we did a live stream the day before showing how people were showing up to these locations. And what was there stacked up all over the place?
What, like
there
bricks,
was pallets of bricks waiting for them to arrive. Why would there be pallets of bricks just waiting for people to arrive to a protest zone? What do you think people found this time?
Piles of bricks
stacked up everywhere. The same playbook. Piles of bricks. And I had videos. People were posting it on X. They were showing up to these where the protest was right across the street. There's these pallets of bricks that just are freshly put there.
And that's what we were pointing out on this channel. We were saying, listen, people, wake up. There is a plan here. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen today. But something is being planned. These people are not just coming over here for quote unquote work. We don't know. These are military aid, and that's what we're saying. All we were trying to do was point out to people that there could be something bigger at work here. A lot of people missed it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And they get fooled by the media telling them that these are just women trying to find a better life and escape, persecution from their husbands or people that are seeking asylum from tyrannical governments. They don't understand. Like, we're watching these people come across. These are young men with backpacks just rushing across the border. And now we're watching them out in the streets waving the flag of the country that they come from, burning American flags, throwing rocks and pepper spraying cops. And I saw a video of a black officer in one of the restaurants right outside of the protest, and one of the workers in the restaurants is putting milk in his eyes because he got sprayed with pepper spray by one of these rioters. And somebody posted up on X and was like, people need it said something like, you want to deport all the illegals, but look who's helping the cop. And then everybody in the comments roasted them like, how do you know that person's illegal? Like, do you know how like, this is the mentality of the white liberal. It was like, you see someone working in a restaurant in LA and you assume they're illegal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that person is not participating in the protest. They're helping the black officer that was assaulted by a white liberal who's probably racist. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just crazy seeing like the dichotomy of all this. I heard that they started giving out American flags now to these rioters because they realized the optics, all those visuals. Did you see the video of the dude standing on top of the car waving the Mexican flag while stuff is burning behind him? Yeah,
the shirt off.
That video was plastered everywhere because it's like, and a lot of people, I'm gonna play some of these videos because a lot of the black people, like this dude talks about illegal fatigue. He's like, I'm gonna make that go viral. He's like, if you want to wave the flag of the country you come from so bad, why don't you go back there?
They're mad because
Cat Williams just did that.
They're mad because they're being deported back.
Back to the country that you're waving the flag of. Yeah, Cat Williams he did. That was actually from a few years ago. That clip.
Oh, it was? Okay.
Yeah.
What they got during the comedy,
the live show that he did where he roasted that dude for waving the Mexican flag. Yeah. But let's play some more of these people.
You have illegals protesting ICE, saying get out of our city. What? Our city? You don't even belong here. You have used and abused the American tax dollars, and that's why the American people, we're fed up, we're tired. Take your butt back home. As a matter of fact, can I opt out of helping these people and have my money go towards the American people?
You're burning up American flags and waving your country's flags, but yet you're in America, protesting against ICE. I don't understand it. Go back home. Deport them all. No excuses no more. Seriously.
And you're rocking your flags. You're holding up your flags. If you're so proud about your company, your country, then go back to your country.
people in LA, don't get in that mess. Please do not get in that mess what's going on in LA. Y'all stay in the house. Y'all get what y'all need to get and sit back and watch, okay? Don't let them Democrat people out there trick y'all into going out there protecting people that would not protect you.
Single person that's illegal, get them the hell out of here for real. Do whatever you have to do to get them out of here. Because I have illegal fatigue. Let's create a new trend here. Illegal fatigue.
The same people will say, pick yourself up by the bootstrap. Why y'all always blaming the white man? Why y'all always talking about racism all the time? Why y'all are not oppressed? I crossed the border in the Rio Grande River with nothing in my pocket. Look at me. Now, let them figure it out.
Now, what's crazy is people think that they can come to America illegally and have rights. That shit doesn't make no damn sense. Y'all bring y'all ass over here illegally and then think that you have rights of an American citizen, which is some bullshit, bro. And honestly, you know what I mean? I lived in LA for 2 years, so I seen the healthcare and the Medicare and the welfare system. And honestly, hardworking Americans.
They think they have rights because Democrat leaders make them believe that they have rights.
Exactly. They've been entitled by coming here, getting free healthcare, getting EBT cards, getting cell phones, getting money from our taxpayer, getting, their children in schools, all this stuff.
Kilmar Garcia, right?
Yeah.
He got shipped back.
Yeah.
Right?
To face charges.
Trafficking. And they found out, FBI found out that his full-time job was trafficking people.
Yep. Thousands of people.
Come on, man.
That's why they're sending him back, because they requested to send him back so he could face charges. So that's why they're sending him back.
Dude, like,
yeah.
That's the guy you guys want to, stand up for. That Maryland dad.
Maryland dad.
Maryland husband and father.
But I think that's the other thing that a lot of people are realizing, especially from the Democrats, is that like they have never seen Democrats go to bat this hard for their own communities.
Yeah.
As they see them going to bat for people that are illegally here and are criminals on top of that. Like they are risking their entire careers on these people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, the video just continues. It's a bunch of people just going off about this and saying how, it's a bunch of nonsense. But I just wanted to show that to show, that people are not with this.
Yeah, they're not with it.
I mean, it's pretty obvious, and we got to start paying attention to stuff like a house divided can't stand.
Yeah.
And this is the obvious thing.
Yep.
There's stuff that speaks about this in the Bible. Like, we're supposed to, like, what? Think about it in terms of just a country. What people do in their country, they can do. You don't judge them.
Right.
You judge them based off of this country.
Right.
What are the laws in this country?
What are the standards? Yeah.
What are we holding to? We have to hold ourselves to the laws that we have. And we have to hold ourselves to a greater standard.
Mm-hmm.
But when nobody, if you think about it, like the Wild West, why do they call it the Wild West?
Because there was no law.
Because there was
lawless.
It was lawless.
Yeah.
So what did you have to do? You had to create authorities to go into those areas so that it could become lawful.
Right.
And the more it became lawful, the more people could thrive there. Right. You had to deal with the lawlessness. In the area.
Yeah.
When nobody abides by the law, it's just obvious. It becomes wild. And this is
Go
ahead.
I was gonna say, as a big fan of the Western movies, I know a little bit about that. It was not just lawless, but what they had to do was they had bounty hunters that would track down these outlaws and bring justice to them. It was until I know Westerns have been glamorized, but if you really look at it from a historical standpoint, to tame the West that Jake's talking about there, they had to hire. There was whole companies that formed almost like a private kind of mercenary to go after bounty hunters, to go after these criminals and put a stop to it, because it was just that bad. You know what I'm saying?
They were robbing
Something
trains.
radical had to happen.
Robbing. They were basically like pirates of the roads out there. Like,
Yes.
They would just rob anybody who they.
That's all the Western movies.
Yeah. Right.
And
the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm bringing this up is because that's a part of America, but it doesn't matter if you don't implement the law.
Right.
If you don't hold people accountable to the law. And we see this, and I think even in terms of like believers, where we've gotten slack is that we don't hold people accountable in terms of believers in the church.
Yeah, we don't.
You know, so when
It's
we
a
let
anything goes mentality.
Yeah. And then if we let anything go,
Yeah.
think about it, you let anything go in your house.
Yeah.
Well, your house becomes crazy.
Right. Chaotic.
It becomes chaotic. You
Yeah.
can't.
So do you? Do you think that, you know, I'm watching these videos and they're wild, dude. I saw that one dude was just picking up bricks and just throwing it at every vehicle that he saw, and it was like cop cars just, and they're not doing anything. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
well, they're being told not to.
Right.
Yeah, I
by
know by the governor.
Right. That's why they had to bring in the National Guard, because the police weren't. That first night of protesting, where a lot of these videos come from, they were not doing anything.
Yeah.
They were told not to do anything, which is the same thing that they did during the George Floyd riots.
Yeah.
They were told to stand down. All these riots all over the place, they were told to stand down, not engage. Let these people do whatever they want.
But even on a lesser scale, like you think about New Jersey, the Governor Murphy, what he was doing and saying, what he had up on the website about how to engage ICE and and
well, he's being investigated now too.
That's my point. Like, no, you can't. This is why we say, like, you're not above the law.
Yeah.
Nobody should be above the law. We have to hold ourselves accountable to the law.
Right.
The leaders should be holding themselves the most accountable to the law. This is why, like, in the church, the leaders should be holding themselves accountable, because there's a. It's not about It's not about like trying to look like you're this. And this is what we get caught up in, right? This is why we had the issue with Obama. Oh, he just plays the part of a president.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It's about actually being the thing. Because once you are it, you don't have to act like it anymore.
Right.
Meaning, like, I don't got to worry about getting put in jail for murdering somebody because I'm not trying to kill nobody.
Right.
It's not in me to do that.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, these things are not there. But what does happen is when people are perverted and they only care about themselves, they're going to try to manipulate the law and twist the law for their own gain.
Right.
Right. And this is what we see happen. This is what happened under Biden.
Yeah.
This is what we've seen happen under Biden. So then once you give that up, you think it's like the devil. Once you give place to the devil, you think he's not gonna leave without a fight.
Right.
Like, oh, that's my territory.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
You gave it up. Now you gotta fight me for it.
You gotta fight me for it. I'm not gonna give it up willingly.
Right.
Because you want it back now. No.
And we think like, oh, that's the law. No, you need to do this. No. And we where's truth come from? It comes from God.
Yeah.
So we as believers, this is why we are the governing authority. Not in a way where we need to be putting the smack down. No, we need to define what is truth.
Yeah.
Why do these things work? It's for peace. It's for the betterment of everybody, right? Just like in your house.
Right.
Why should you not be cheating on your wife? Because it's going to affect your whole family. Right?
Yeah.
So to have peace in your house, you have to love your wife, right? Treat your wife good. Then that trickles down to your kids.
Yeah.
Like, all these things matter. Now your household starts to come in order.
Right.
Because I'm not thinking about myself
Right.
in my house. How can I get over on my kids?
Yeah.
How can I get over on my wife?
Right.
How can I get everything I want?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Get my way all the time. Yeah.
Why would you want somebody like that leading your house?
Yeah.
Why would you want somebody like that leading your country?
What was you about to say, Mom?
No, like what he said, the SmackDown thing. Do you think there's a time for a SmackDown where it's justified?
Yeah. If you have to draw the line.
Yeah. You have to kick people out your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm talking about these people here that are like, they can kill people.
Well,
there's been some injuries, right?
Yeah.
And didn't somebody die?
I don't know if anyone died yet. I don't remember hearing that.
In what way is it lawful? Like, this should have been handled back in 2020.
Yeah.
In what way and how is it lawful to cause damage to communities?
Yeah.
It's not lawful.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
Again, are they upholding the law in those communities?
No. They are openly subverting it. Like when you look at these governors, what Murphy was doing, what Gavin Newsom is doing, they are openly defying the mandate that was set by a duly elected president that most of the country said, this is what we want to happen in this country. This is the mandate we're putting forth. This is what is supposed to happen. Get on board. This is the agenda. And they are openly defying that and enabling these people to continue to be here and avoid the deportations.
The first part of your video, you played. It's just an example of exactly how he thinks.
Yeah.
How he wants. They're selfish.
Yeah.
Straight up, don't care about anybody. He's naming Alabama. It's not Alabama. It's not Florida. It's not Texas.
Right.
You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So,
people were mad about that in the comments. They're like, why is he saying that? Because he said it's the American dream, it's the California dream, it's not the Alabama dream.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
But again, he's showing his hand.
Yeah,
he's showing his arrogance.
Right.
They want to succeed.
He's showing his hand again. None of that matters. Like if you're looking at all these places that riots are happening and the governing authorities are doing nothing. They're showing their hand.
Yeah.
They're not just.
Well, but that's why now that opens the door for the federal government to now say, okay, now we have to intervene.
Because they're not just.
Right.
They are not looking at things they're looking at things in a hypocritical way.
Yeah.
It's like well, you shouldn't kill anybody. But they're talking hate to you.
Yeah.
So it's all right to kill them.
Right.
That's not just.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, that's not right, but that doesn't mean you have the right to kill them.
Yeah.
That's just. It's that simple. And we're overlooking these things because we are falling deeper and deeper into tribalism.
Mm-hmm.
And that's into cannibalism and not really, but there might be some cannibals out there. But in a way where we eat our own, right, and that's what happens in dysfunctional households.
Right,
you eat your own. Everybody's for themselves.
Yep.
Because you can't trust nobody.
Yeah, that's when you see households where like they hide in cereal boxes. They want the juice for themselves, so they hide it.
Yep.
You know, yeah, like that's the type of
that we know some of those.
Yeah.
Those households.
Right. There's another aspect of it too.
James,
we can only see
again.
half of your face, bro.
We don't see.
All we see is your.
Just adjust the camera. There you go. There you go.
So there's another aspect too, which is this. I think Americans have gotten so comfortable at being spectators that we're not willing to we don't have the same vigor. Like, look at these people. They're in a country illegally. They've broken the law and they're willing to risk their lives to make a statement. Now, I'm not saying that we should do that, but what we don't do is participate. Our participation is voting.
Yeah.
We don't go down to our local municipal buildings. We don't go to our state committees. We don't go down and not riot. I'm talking about speak up, like how these Chicagoans went down to speak to the mayor. We don't do that. So what happens is the noise only looks like it's coming from one place, and these people are making a lot of noise. What we could learn from them is this: speaking up and going and saying something and actually standing against these committees, going to these local townships, going to these committee meetings, these state senate meetings. These people do notice that. In my town, our mayor was arrested for DUI. If the people didn't stand up, she would still be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm not saying you have to be violent, but one thing that we've gotten comfortable as Americans is being spectators. We see it, we comment on it, but we don't go. And one thing I learned from this town, because even myself, I didn't go to the committee meeting, but a lot of people showed up, and they made such a big noise about her arrest that something did happen. If nobody went, she would still be in charge. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say what you're talking about is taking responsibility for our own community.
You have to.
Yeah,
you have to. You have to go to these things. We can't be surprised that things are happening and we haven't done anything. You know what I'm saying?
You can't complain about what you don't Like it's a difference between like just complaining to people and then actually doing something about it. Like that, even with me, like a simple thing like being in the soccer community in Pennsauken, and being a part of that, like I could complain like, man, they don't have this, they don't have this, or I can go in there and help. You know,
try to change it.
What can I contribute?
Yeah.
What can I speak about? How can we, you know, and even in it, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have issues to come up. But then, are you gonna just complain again, or are you gonna look for the solutions? So everybody can play a part in different. What are you doing? What are you doing in your life? You got to see, what can I help with? It is a sacrifice. It does take from your life, but like James said, we're too comfortable.
Right.
We're too comfortable.
But I think that's also part of the spell. That's part of the design. That's why you get, you know, these politicians that scratch your itching ear and tell you that they're going to handle everything for you, and you won't have, like, that sounds so enticing to be able to be like, oh, I can just chill, and they're going to make sure I'm good. So then we get lulled into this place, which we have been over the last, you know, I'd say 60, 70 years, maybe even longer. Just being lulled into this place of like, oh, nah, they got it.
Yeah.
They go to Washington, they got it.
I'm going to tell you something, though. Isn't that how most churches are?
That's the same. Yeah, absolutely.
Where we
exactly
put
the
too
same.
much on the leaders.
Yes.
And then when something comes out about the leaders, we're looking crazy.
Right.
Like, we can't believe it happened. Well, you gave him everything. You gave him all the authority over your life.
Right.
And you don't even read the Bible for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you're literally falling on every word.
Your whole relationship with God depends on him, on the leader. Yeah, and it shouldn't be like that.
It can't be like that.
Right.
You have to test them in what they're saying.
But that's the problem. The problem is with the church and with politicians is that they want that authority. They want that power because it you know, a lot of times.
Well, our flesh does.
Right. That's what I mean.
Our
like
fallen nature.
That fallen nature, the ego, the thirst for power and money and influence, it's fed by the need of knowing that the flock needs you. They need you to, you know, the politician needs us to need them, because otherwise what is government? Why does it even exist? You know?
Yeah.
I heard someone say something that struck me today. It was like, oh, that don't sound right. Where they were talking about wolf in sheep's clothing, like that saying, and they were like, when it comes to the church, that's not about the leadership, because the saying wouldn't be a wolf in shepherd's clothing. The sheep are the so I was like,
but we're
what?
We're all sheep,
right?
Under the true shepherd,
right?
Which is God, right?
But you see yourself as, I'm not one of you. I am the shepherd.
Yeah,
you know,
and that's dangerous.
Yeah,
and part of it too is a lot of times we don't want to take stock of our own life. We're comfortable. We don't want to take stock of the things that we need to change. We want change, but we want change.
We want you to change
on our terms.
We want everybody else to change.
You know what's interesting too? Like, how can you just go on, if you think about anything that we want to do, right? Or you think about like God for the unity and the growing up of the church. In Ephesians 4, it talks about he sends pastors, evangelists, apostles, prophets, teachers, right? All this. So what's interesting is like people go to classes for evangelism. People go to classes for how to be a pastor, whatever. And I'm not saying you can't, but what I'm saying is it's evangelist because you learn how to be what God has called you to be. You can't learn something. It's who you are.
Yeah.
He's called you in who he's created you to be. That's why you can step into these roles.
Yeah.
It's just like a woman can't be a man.
Right.
You can't be a father.
Right.
But now we're trying to change these roles and thinking, well, if I take a class on how to be a man, I can be a man. No.
Read this book on how to be the mother and the father.
No, it doesn't work that way.
Right.
The reason why you are the way you are is because God created you that way.
Yeah.
And the more you lean into God, you'll learn how to be that which you already are.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we don't in the church, we think that we get more comfortable in, okay, this is for this. Okay, this is for this. But no, it's all in God.
Right.
And then the world, we do the same thing.
Yep.
And then we think we got these things figured out. And we put a box around it, put labels on it, right? And then we ask questions, well, what are you?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Right.
Right? So we think we got people figured out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never how it should be.
Right.
I was watching this thing on the music industry with this guy. He was a producer. And this is something stupid, but it just made me think, people always try to put you in boxes. And he was saying the artist Sia, she was a writer, right?
Yeah.
So he was saying that he used to write with Sia. Like he would produce, she would write. And then she wanted to become an artist. And he was like, he was always told, no, if you're a writer, you can't become an artist.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how it works.
Right.
So he didn't want to help her.
Who was he told that by? That doesn't make any sense.
He was told that by whoever,
right,
wherever he grew up in, and
his spiritual father.
They taught him. Yeah. So for
his
him,
musical father.
Right.
He's like, oh, that's stupid, and it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So she went on and did it somewhere else,
Mm-hmm.
right? And she became popular in that. Now I'm not condoning. My point in all that is to say that we put these boxes around things and we
Yeah.
were told something.
Right.
But is that really what it is?
Right. So we set up a rule, a principle in our mind
That isn't true.
Doesn't really exist.
No.
But it really becomes a bondage.
Right.
Yeah.
And but also we think in order for me to be successful, I have to abide by these rules. Where do these rules come from?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we're doing in this world.
Yeah.
Like everybody's thinking, I'm comfortable. Let me get let me live in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. That's got a good school system. Right. It's high taxes because that's what they tell you. You know, it's good school. So
right.
And I'm around. And the funny part is, I'm around everybody. They all wave to me.
Yeah.
But inwardly, they're devils, right? Inwardly, they're all scheming. They're all selfish. Not everybody,
Right.
but most, they're selfish. But they think they got it all figured out, you know. And how many people are getting caught up in that? They're devils.
And
They're
listen,
the devil.
And here's another take on it, right? Moan was asking earlier about why the news reporters, why they're so inconsistent or they're not telling the truth. A lot of it has to do with money. A lot of it has to do with their lifestyle. Like we just said, people cocoon themselves in a world. Most of those people who are reporting don't live in those communities,
Yeah.
right? Their kids go to private school. Part of the promise for them is you have to do what we tell you to do, and you will enjoy the perks of life that we give you, which is the high salaries. You live in a nice neighborhood. You live in a gated community. And we just saw that a few years ago when these very people were saying, asylum seekers, asylum cities, asylum, come here, sanctuary states. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What happened when the Texas governor and
remember when he sent 50 of them to Martha's Vineyard? And
we saw it. We saw what happened. These people that were so virtuous and they were telling everybody, hey, these people are just seeking a better life and we shouldn't judge and we shouldn't do this. 50 people showed up in a wealthy town in, what was that? Martha's Vineyard or something like that?
Martha's Vineyard, yeah.
Martha's Vineyard, right. 50 people showed up on a bus and they went crazy.
They had them people out of there within 3 hours.
If that's what we're saying is there's a level of hypocrisy here that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's because of the love of money. It's not money, but the love of money that these reporters, the reporters, the mayors, the executives in charge, their love of money is what keeps them to do this.
So that's the real rule, right? But then these other rules are to initiate you
right
into the false thing. But it's all under the same thing.
Yeah.
Because like, oh, if you want to come up in terms of society, money,
yeah,
right, you have to do these things. But we don't even follow these things.
Right.
Really. Like when you get up there, you realize, oh, they don't even follow these
yeah.
rules. They got a different set of rules. They follow rules, but they're different.
Yeah.
Right. But you won't know that. That's the initiation too, right?
Right.
You don't know that as you go higher. So we think like, oh, the Illuminati. Oh, you ever hear about the Masons?
Yeah.
What they do? Like, you guys don't get it. In everything, it's already set up like
Right.
that. We don't realize, like, in America, in the things that we do, the moment, just like that guy I was saying, the moment he, in his mind, accepted some rules and didn't ask where they came from and just accepted it as that's the rule for me to be successful.
Right.
You just came under witchcraft. You just came under an initiation. So it doesn't always have to be outright, right? Sometimes you can just be ignorant of it, but you still created a subservitude in your life, a slavery in your life. Now you're subservient to something.
Yeah.
To where you have to work in that way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I just saw an interview with Jordan Peterson and Megan Kelly, and they were talking about feminism, and he brought in some interesting statistics about, like, because the birth rates are going down, talking about how, like, women, like, a lot of the advice that is given to women, especially in the modern era, has caused this issue that we're having with, because they're told to use their most advantageous. This is something that we talk about all the time. Me and James have been talking about this for years. Like, women have been tricked to give up their most birthing, like, prime years of birthing, to give that up to career. And then at a time when they're pretty much geriatric, now you're trying to have kids.
Yeah.
And it's not work. It's like 1 in 3 couples at that age are not able to have kids now. So it's like the numbers are plummeting.
Yeah.
But he also,
which is big business, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge business. IVF is crazy right now. But he brought up another statistic that was showing that most of the people that are indoctrinating or initiating young girls into this thinking is older women, especially older women who chase careers and didn't have kids. Because it's like, even though a lot of them are miserable, they feel like they need to pull you into that same misery to justify their choices.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that it's the same exact thing. They're following rules that they don't really believe in.
Exactly.
Right.
That someone told them that this is what, because Megan Kelly brought up the example of, like, she, at her children's school, they did like a career day, a woman's career day, and they wanted all the kids to see women in these career spaces and these bosses, and she advocated to them, like, you need to have a stay-at-home mom here to show that is a successful life path as well. The opportunity to be a mother and raise kids but they didn't want to have nothing to do with it. But so even the idea of showing that as a prosperous life choice doesn't exist for girls. And it's like the only example you can show them of winning in life is to be an executive somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
And what's crazy about when they do those statistics, they never show the this side. Antidepressants, therapy, right?
Loneliness,
weight gain, loneliness.
Yeah,
there's a lot. They don't show that there's a rise in that, in debt, massive debt.
Yeah,
right. 83% of the debt belongs to them.
Right.
They never show the statistics that say, okay, well, all right, here's the counter side of that, which is they have freedom, but look at all the other things that come with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And Jordan Peterson pointed out something that seemed pretty dire, that in the next 20 to 30 years, we're going to see this huge boom of elderly women who have no one to take care of them because they didn't have kids. They don't have families. Most of them are divorced, or their husbands usually die before them. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a huge issue it's going to be a huge burden on the younger generation.
Yeah.
Right.
And so if it's crazy. I'm just thinking about this. Like, if you think about selfishness, right? If the older generation was selfish, so therefore there's a disconnect between the older generation and the younger generation, and they don't really want to they don't really want to disciple them.
Yeah.
Right? There's not real discipleship, because think about it. If you disciple young kids, if you disciple them as they grow, then look at how women they want to get into marriages when they see that they are ready.
Yeah. When they're done getting all their selfishness out of the way.
When they see in their own eyes that they're ready. But when you are discipled and truly raised up, it's not their eyes, it's the eyes of the ones who are
their
leading
leadership.
them.
Their leadership, yeah.
Who are saying you're ready. And you might not even feel ready.
Right.
But you're ready.
You're ready.
You know, because I was thinking about this, like, even when I was married, when I got married, I remember I didn't feel like I was ready. And I'm like, I got to do this. I got to get this. And then even my wife was like, well, when is that going to be? You know, like, and even her hit me with that. It was like, wait a minute. I prayed.
That's a normal woman talking point.
Right. But at the same time, I realized I was trying to make it perfect.
Yeah.
I was trying to, and then it's like, when is that going to be? It's true in that way. And I had to trust God, right?
Yeah.
In that. And of course it worked out, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have kids, you don't think you're ready, but all these things work out because you have.
And you realize that you were actually foolish the whole time.
Right.
And you wasted
and
so much
selfish.
valuable. Because I'll give, and selfish.
Yeah.
But I'll give you another example from that interview, because Megyn Kelly talked about her life and how, like, even though she met her husband when she was 38, they ended up getting married and she had 3 kids, one at 38, one at 40, one at 42. She's like, yeah, so you can say in a sense that, like, I'm the 0.0001% that was able to have a successful career. I love what I do. I have a great relationship with my husband, great relationship with my kids. She's like, but then I think about when they're whatever age, I'm going to be 40 years older than them. So I'm not going to have a relationship with my grandkids. I'm always counting, all right, how many years is that until I'm going to miss out on the, you know, and you start thinking about all of that time that you wasted. So there's still that idea of selfishness that comes up. I was listening to, I don't know if you guys remember the girl who, the only podcast pretty much that Kamala Harris did, the Call Her Daddy girl. So this girl has been, of course, we've talked about it on here. Her name's Alex Cooper. She has been a feminist advocate for telling young women that they should need to just go out and sleep with a bunch of guys and live their best life, blah, 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 blah. Well, now she's all of a sudden wanting to be married, want to have kids, like changing it all up. But she just recently went on a podcast and talked about how she decided to change her mind on having kids because she realized that she's not done being selfish. She has a couple more years that she just got married. She's successful. She wants to be selfish for a couple more years. Plus she realized, and this is another thing that young women are tricked into that they don't realize. She realized that because if you want to live that party life in your 20s and you don't want to get pregnant, you don't want to get married, what do you have to be? You have to be on birth control. She was on birth control throughout her entire 20s. The minute she stopped going on birth control because she wanted to get pregnant by her husband, she said, like, her hormones were so all over the place, she couldn't even think some days. She couldn't get out of bed. Like, her body just totally went crazy because she had been on these birth control pills for so many years. And that's another thing that a lot of these women that are now trying to get pregnant in their 30s coming off of birth control, they're having these issues because of all the damage it's done to them hormonally. You know what I mean? And that's another part of that trap, another part of that selfishness decision that is causing the crisis that we're about to enter into with young women now becoming 30 and 40 years old, can't find husbands, can't get pregnant if they do find a husband, you know. So we need to do a better job. And we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. We need to do a better job of raising. These are like things that I'm thinking about now, having 2 daughters, raising our children to understand that they need to be ready to be a wife in their 20s. Like you need to be ready to find your husband in your 20s.
I just had a talk with my daughter and her eyes were like, I talked to her about, because she just turned 13.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, you're 13 now. So we have to get you ready. You're no longer, I told her, you're no longer a little girl. I can't treat you.
Yeah.
You're a young woman.
Right.
So everything that I do has to be to get you ready. And there's going to be boys that come up. There's going to be boys that you might like. But we have everything now has to show you what you're getting ready for, and the stuff that your friends get into, you're not going to be able to get into. Because you have to know what is the reason behind these things. Why do I like this boy?
Why does
these
my
are the
friend
things
like
you
this
have
boy?
to ask yourself.
Why do they want me to like a boy with them?
Like all these things I'm telling her, and like her eyes were like because it was like, why is my dad talking to me?
Dude,
about
I've
these
had those conversations. But trust me, when it starts happening, she's gonna get it, and she's gonna come to you and she's gonna say, "I see what you're talking about," because I get that all the time, and you're able to then continue the conversation and go further with it, and then. But I agree with you. I think that we need to start teaching and young men too. We need to start ushering them into adulthood at an earlier age, because that's something that Megyn Kelly said also in the interview. And I'll let you say what you was going to say, James. She was saying that like even though she made the choices in the way that she did, she thinks of herself in her 20s. She wasn't ready. She had no idea of what being a mother would have been. You know what I mean? And we're not teaching our daughters to do that, to understand that they need to be ready.
Yeah.
So, but go ahead, James. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to say, one of the things that I have observed being in the contracting world and being around other families, especially foreign families, I would say Indians, Jews, and Muslim, and being in their household, it's something that I see and I hear them do, specifically the Jewish people, is, like you said, we talk about leaving girlhood and boyhood behind.
Yeah.
We, more than ushering them into manhood, it's like we look at it as the sex talk. You talk to them about the birds and the bees, and that's the end of that.
Right.
That's how we typically do that. Versus like saying, okay, let's have a weekend or a week of, we're going to usher you from boyhood to manhood, from girlhood to womanhood. And this is not just a conversation in a car like, hey, don't let no boy touch you, don't do this.
No,
this is a ceremony. It's a celebration. You're leaving this side of you're leaving this part of your life behind, because that side is that time is over, right? That season is done. Seasons are good. Seasons are good. Yes, the winter comes, it's cold, it's bitter, but the spring comes and it's beautiful, and things are being birthed, and things are happening. Life is happening. You're seeing things. What we do, and sadly to say, the Christian church too, we've adopted it. Have the birds and the bees. Don't have sex. You're gonna go to hell. You'll die. That's the end of that. Come back to church.
God will hate you if you have sex. Yeah.
Right. And we're not sitting down and ushering them like, here's the time when you get to ask me, what is manhood like? What is fatherhood like? What is motherhood like? What is a household like? Ask me any question, because we're going to usher you from this stage of life to this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And all of that, all of that has to do with leading them by also example. Right? Like, taking them along with you with things. And if you don't do it, somebody else is.
Yep.
Somebody else is going to give them some horrible information and try to intimidate them into thinking a certain way. And if you don't challenge them quick,
right,
and get in their ear to challenge them, right, with certain ideas and things, other people will in a very horrible way, and they're gonna consider that,
and or what we do is we subsequently adopt movie folly. which is you hear this. Don't bring no boy around here. I got a shotgun. Get your shotgun ready.
Yeah.
We have all these stupid isms. Like
Well,
I always
that's
point
all
this out.
fear tactics. You know?
Yeah, that's fear tactics. Remember the scene in Bad Boys where the young man shows up to take out Martin's daughter, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was silly. I laughed at it too. But I look back on that scene and I say, wait a minute here. The young man shows up. He's respectful to them. He says, "Hello, Mr. Burnett. How are you? I'm here to take out your daughter, Megan." He curses him out. Will Smith comes out, sticks a gun in his face, and we all laughed at that. But imagine if Jakey, Noe, Alonzo came and said, "Dad, I went out to take out this girl, and her father came and stuck a gun in my face." Would we giggle and be like, that's crazy? Or would we find that's craziness? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
These isms in movie, these silly things that we see become art imitating life or life imitating art. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's get your shotgun. You should pound on somebody's kid instead of, like you said, us ushering them from one stage to this. And we look at all these silly little isms and we make that part of our life, our tradition. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that has nothing to do with the Christian walk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because at the root of it is fear. At the root of it, if you're doing that, then you're just generating that same fear. You're afraid.
That you did.
Yeah, you're afraid because you fell for it.
You know what you did.
You don't.
Yeah.
But if we do it from the place of love, then we do it from the place of patience.
Mm-hmm.
We do it from the place of mercy. We do it from the place of grace. Right? We do it.
Right.
We do it from the place of kindness, and that is something that takes. It's a whole different thing because it takes us to humble ourselves.
Right.
You know,
because you bring in a young man. You bring in a young man and you sit him down and you say, "I want to meet you. I want to sit down and talk to you." You let him know your standard, your expectation. There's only two things that can happen. He can be like, "You know what? I respect this family. I'm not going to do these things," because we can't assume that he's evil just because he's a male. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or he runs away. Like Jamie and I used to always say, when Jamie met my parents, Jamie came in, my dad wanted to talk to him. My sisters were nervous. And what do we say now, Jamie? If any man runs away from a conversation from your dad, he had no good intention to begin with.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what I told your sister.
If a simple conversation scares you off, then he was no good. His intentions were exposed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But
Same thing with women.
If you're so afraid that your father's going to run someone off, then you don't understand. You're not at a place where you're ready to even like handle a relationship, I feel like. You know what I mean? Because
you're misunderstanding everything. You don't understand it.
Right.
You know,
that's what I'm saying.
You're in fear.
Yeah. You don't you're not there yet where you're understanding, okay, what is the dynamic of this? You're just like, this is something that I want. I don't want my dad to mess it up for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the whole perfect love cast out all fear.
Right.
Because when we learn love, that's because we've understood where, oh, my dad's coming from here. So because he's coming from here, then I know this guy, if he doesn't appreciate it and respect it, then he's not good for me anyway.
I gotta give a shout out to Michael Nino and Mike Suarez are in the chat. They're watching the Colombia Argentina game. So Mike said, "Hey Jamie, what do you think of the Colombia Argentina game?" Stupid. Yeah, they're in there. Just
we're not gonna live stream it.
No.
Right.
Yeah. All right, let's before we move on to this church thing, I just want to show what's going on this weekend. Let me pull it up real quick. I just want to show what's going on this weekend because they got plans, fellas. They got plans. So right here, I don't know if you guys saw this whole website set up in America. We don't do kings. So this is called the No King protest or something like that going on June 14th, Mom. It's we know that's Trump's birthday. That's my mom's birthday, my daughter's birthday. It's Flag Day. They have this whole protest already set up. Look at all these locations. Look at all these locations they already got set up.
Did y'all watch that video that I sent?
Yes. Look, there's some. Look, Europe, Africa, South America, Hawaii.
Wow.
Like all over the place. They already have. Look, freaking Canada. They have protests already set up and ready to go. And yeah, the video that you sent was talking about how on a lot of these advertisements for the protests, you saw Christy Walton
Yes.
as the funder, who is the daughter of was named James Walton, who started Walmart. So people are speculating that they are funding this.
Yes.
Because they're upset about the tariffs affecting their bottom line that Trump implemented. And so there's
That's
like
a good point.
Yeah.
They're thinking too, because there's videos of people that's giving, equipment.
Yeah.
PPE,
Right.
riot PPE.
Well, those
like
masks.
Those what are they called? Bionic face shields.
Yeah.
They're like heavy duty, and they range from like $45 to like $60-$70.
Some of them are in the hundreds.
Bro, and they're handing them out
like Halloween candy.
Like Halloween candy.
So someone has to be supplying them.
Yeah. Big money.
And those are gas masks that can protect against tear gas
Right.
and like riot equipment from the police and stuff like that.
And where are they sold?
Walmart.
At Walmart.
Yeah.
So that's why they're kind of
connecting those dots, yeah.
putting
Which makes sense.
2 and 2 together.
I will show this video from Paulina Luna because she also had some intel on another person who is actually a Chinese national who is supposedly behind some of this as well. Let me bring this up.
Just found a really great deep dive here from the Data Republican on X. So who is behind all these crazy riots in LA and that will be across the nation? Just like remember in the Summer of Love with BLM, remember who's organizing all that stuff? With this specifically is being funded by an individual by the name of Neville Singham, who actually made his money by pushing communist Chinese propaganda, became a billionaire doing it. He's now funding, and the guy behind all of these protests was also behind and tied to the protests at Columbia University, pushing all of that BS, if you don't remember. And then also, too, if you actually look at the social organization that's putting out these flyers, it's the Party for Socialism and Liberation, which is, and I kid you not, the actual Communist Party. So they're using Hispanics, they're using illegal immigrants, they're trying to hype people up thinking that they care, but they don't care. They would stop illegal immigration. Obama deported people. Why all of a sudden now? It's political.
Yeah. And I want to show this because she brought up Obama. People were showing this right here. Because when you listen to what Obama's saying, right, you would think that this is a Trump speech.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century. And to those members of Congress who question my authority to make our immigration system work better, or question the wisdom of me acting where Congress has failed, I have one answer. Pass a bill.
Wow. Wow. How come he wasn't considered a fascist dictator when he was saying stuff like that?
His wife is, didn't even say that about him.
Right. So this is the dude that she was talking about, this guy. What's his name? Neville Singham. He is part of the Chinese Communist Party linked billionaire. Neville Singham funds the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the PSL, which is basically a wing of the Communist Party who is using this to push. Like I said, AOC is literally endorsing a communist for the mayor of New York. He's a Muslim communist. And she's out there campaigning for him right now. waving Puerto Rican flags, pretending she speaks Spanish. I don't know if you've seen any of those videos.
No, I have not.
But she's going around New York right now campaigning for this guy. Yeah, this is one of the advertisements. Socialism and Liberation Party, right on the flyer. This guy, he was a part of funding the protesters at the what was it? The university, she said, Columbia. Yeah. So, you know, just keep that in mind, people. This is the video you showed, Boone, where she was breaking down the masks at Walmart. We just talked about that. And we also got to be aware of the news, man. Take a look at this video right here. Let me just show you guys this real quick.
A killer whale?
It looked like
Just
a killer whale.
Just watch.
Angela Carter here, live from the Cedar Grove flood disaster. Just kidding, I'm not real. This is Dana Brooks reporting live from Ocean View Beach. Just kidding, I'm not real. This is Charlotte Reed reporting live from Clearwater Beach, where an unidentified... Just kidding, I'm not real.
I just wanted to show that because, like, I don't know if you guys have been seeing the Google VEO3 videos and stuff like that. Like, how far AI video has come since. Well, remember that first video I played on the podcast of that, like, little fake Bud Light commercial that looked so weird and creepy?
Yeah.
They couldn't even get people drinking a beer, right?
Yeah.
Now, like, it's going to be hard to tell reality from fake. Like, AI is going to get to the point where no one is going to, the internet, everything like news, we're not going to be able to believe anything.
Wow.
So just keep that in mind as a lot of this stuff is happening, a lot of these protests, visuals that you might see.
Which is going to cause a lot more confusion.
Yep. We got to be aware of that. Is James still there? Are you frozen, James? Oh, okay, he's there.
No, I'm here.
Okay, I was just making sure. All right, now let's get into these videos. We were talking about the church. We're talking about raising people into adulthood, those tough conversations. We're talking about sex and fornication and all of that. Jake sent me these videos. Let me make sure I'm on the right one. And
just had one of those conversations with Noah.
You got to, man.
Being responsible.
Mm-hmm.
Trying.
Yeah.
just wanting to be around. You saw how he is.
Yeah, I know. That's a tough one. That's gonna be a lot of work, man.
Yeah.
But let's get into this a little bit. This is a pastor in the black church giving his take on what fornication really means in the Bible.
I do this because the church's mishandling of this subject has had considerable consequences on our culture and on our society. It has adversely impacted how people see themselves and see their bodies, and it has had a huge impact on intimate relationships, and it's affected how parents treat their children when those children become active. And so this teaching today is necessary, not because I want to be known for saying something that is novel, but because I believe that lives are at stake, and I believe that people's ability to experience the life that Jesus wants us to have and to have it more abundantly is on the line. I am doing this because the church ought to be one of the first places.
Hold up.
Look at how he just put John 10:10. I just think this is very like
the thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it more abundantly.
Because
he's saying he has come so that they can have life.
But I'm saying he's literally the thief.
Yeah, but he's putting himself in the place of Jesus.
Yeah.
In this.
Hold on, I'm trying to see what he says though. I didn't get any.
Other than the family,
All right, let's
where
keep
people
going.
can learn honest messages about sex, sexuality, and their bodies. The church ought to be one of the first places where people are able to talk about this God-given desire in a space that is safe, supportive, and free from shame, guilt, and condemnation. I lost some of y'all already. See? Here's what I know. When the church ignores or fails to address things properly, it creates a void and a vacuum for Satan to step in and distort what God meant for good and use it for evil.
You know what? That statement is not wrong.
It's not wrong.
Not
but where
wrong.
he takes it.
I do this because the church's mishandling of this subject has had considerable consequences on our culture
The
and
next
on
one. I
our
think
society.
you already.
It has adversely
you put
impacted
it
how
2
people see
times. I saw
themselves
it.
and see their bodies, and it has had huge
I put it 2 times.
Yeah.
The one word that is responsible for all of this confusion is the word fornication. Can the church say fornication? Every teaching about sex in the church begins and ends with some preacher, teacher, or Bible commentator building their teaching upon the meaning.
We lost James. Is James still there, Mom? Nope.
Of this one word. What it means in our modern day English. But what have we said and what have we learned in this series? That just because you see a word in English, you cannot assume that it means in the text what it means today. Are y'all in here today? Remember, when it came to divorce, I said that just because you see the English word divorce, you cannot assume that it means in the text what it means today. And half of y'all came up on stage at the end of that sermon because you got freed and delivered from the teaching. We'll see what happens at the end of today's message. Well, the same is the case with the word fornication. So here's the first point of this sermon. The Greek word fornication in the Bible does not refer to premarital sex. See, when the Apostle Paul says flee fornication in 1 Corinthians chapter 6, he is not saying flee sex outside of marriage. The word translated fornication in the Bible is the Greek word porneia. It appears about 24 times in the New Testament. And the root word for the word porneia is the Greek word pornos, which means a harlot or a prostitute. Y'all following me? The context of verse 18 begins in verse 13 of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, where Paul says the body is not meant for fornication, but for the Lord, and the Lord for the body. Do you not know that your bodies are members of Christ? Should I therefore take the members of Christ and make them members of a prostitute? Do you not know that whatever is united to a prostitute becomes one body with her? Then Paul says in verse 18 to flee fornication. So the entire context of verse 18, church, is about fleeing prostitution, not fleeing premarital sex. Fornication came to mean things like sexual immorality, sex before marriage. It came to be associated with things like infidelity.
Where are you getting this?
He just broke it down for you.
Man. He went to the Greek.
He went to the Greek and he broke it on down. Therefore, he gets to, Reverend Lonnie Love gets to do his thing.
You were swindled, Moan. You thought
you're listening to them preachers, and you could have been out here tagging and bagging all along.
Tagging and bagging.
Oh my God, I can't take it.
Or unchastity in the English language over 1,000 years after the New Testament was written, and I'll explain later why that happened. But in the Bible, somebody say in the Bible. Come on, say it again. In the Bible, in the New Testament, in the first century, fornication did not mean that. So in Matthew chapter 5, verses 31 and 32, when Jesus gives the grounds upon which a man can discard or throw away his wife, the word in verse 32 is porneia, which means he is saying that the only reason that a man can throw his wife out like that is if she has prostituted herself. Come on, I need y'all to get this here today.
On the mouth?
Yeah. Remember I
said that?
You said that.
He doing it a little differently, but they do that. This is a black church thing. I don't know.
It's just part of the isms. Part of the isms.
Like it becomes, yeah. All right, so let's just break it a little bit.
He's leading people to a cliff, man.
Yeah.
He's leaving the sheep.
So he's basically saying that porneia is
prostitution.
Only prostitution.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's saying that fornication, when it's referred to in the Bible, is only referring to prostitution. Therefore, having sex outside of marriage, premarital sex, all of that is okay.
Yeah. Well, we can even go to the Septuagint, which the Septuagint is the Greek version of the Old Testament.
Right.
That came before Jesus. And in there, the word is used for prostitution, but it's also used for infidelity.
Right.
It's also used for adultery.
Right.
It's used for sex out of marriage.
Right.
And so we got to understand it. It's more about betrayal.
Right.
Of covenant.
But I mean, like, let's just give an example of how he can take something and totally spin it in this way and use a modern context. Because I thought about this right away. It's just like if you said, Simone, or I'm not going to use you. Gary divorced his wife because his wife was a whore, right? Say somebody said that, right? And then 100 years from now, right? someone looks at that and says, see, you got to look at it in the context. At the time, whore was actually interchangeable with the word prostitute because it was at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So you can make that correlation and say that Gary only left his wife because she was out here selling the Gucci. But you don't understand that
Sure, you're not using me as a
I'm not. Whore. Yes, it can mean prostitute, but it could also just mean a promiscuous girl, or we use it as slang for any kind of girl who is fornicating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, that's an example of how you can totally just make that up. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's a good breakdown.
Yeah, you can twist anything, but
Yeah.
when you look at it in context,
Yeah.
you can go and look at this word. You know what's funny? He's going to 1 Corinthians 6, right?
Yeah.
Is where he's getting this from. But if you just go one chapter before that,
Mhm.
you go to 1 Corinthians 5.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to read a little bit of it.
Okay.
So this is where this is why he's even going through this. This is the beginning of 1 Corinthians 5. It says, it is actually reported that there is sexual immorality among you. Same word.
Mm-hmm.
Pornea, root, right? Sexual immorality among you, of a kind that is not tolerated even among pagans. For a man has his father's wife,
Mm.
and you are arrogant. You ought not rather to mourn. Let him who has done this be removed from among you.
Right.
Because they're just letting it go.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Does it have anything to do with prostitution?
Well, maybe. How do you know the wife ain't selling it to the son?
Right.
How do you know that? You
Then,
don't know.
then, if you go a little bit lower, it says, I wrote to you in my letter not to associate with sexual immoral people. The same word, right?
Mhm.
So let's change that for prostitute. I wrote to you not to associate with prostitutes. Not at all meaning the prostitutes of this world, or the greedy, or the swindlers, or the idolaters, since then you would, and I'm changing it, right? Because then he says, then you would need to go out of the world.
Mm-hmm.
So you're telling me everybody's a prostitute in the world.
Right.
No, he's talking about all those who are sexually immoral,
Right.
which, if you think about Rome, most
of
people
them
were,
were,
right?
yeah.
So he's speaking about sexually immoral.
Yeah.
And he's saying, I wrote you not to associate with those among you.
Right.
Right? Not about the world. This is what he's saying basically here. And it says, but now I'm writing you not to associate with anyone who bears the name of brother if he is guilty of sexual immorality, of greed, of an idolater, reviler, drunkard, swindler, not even to eat with such a one. For what do I have to do with judging outsiders, right? So again, he's saying, and we kind of talked about this earlier with judging America and
Yeah.
people in America, right?
Right.
In the same sense, because it's obvious. Again, we talked about this earlier. If you want your house to be in order, it starts with the mother and the father, right?
Yeah.
It starts with the dad. The dad sets the tone. If the dad is out there freaky deaky, it's going to cause problems in the house.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to cause emotional problems in the house. Not just with the mother, with the children.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to cause abuse. It's going to cause hypocrisy. There's so many things. It's going to cause chaos.
Right.
Right? So you have to get these things in check. This should not be in your house. When a mother is committed to the father, when a husband is committed to the wife is committed to the husband, you become an example for the household. This is just obvious basic stuff
Yeah.
that we're dealing with. So that logic just fails if you just go one chapter in front, right? It fails. It doesn't make
what's his
any
end
sense.
point though?
His end point is,
does he want people to just be all freaky deaky and
no,
just
his end point is
kids?
a false.
The kids just
Yeah, he's saying that you don't need to be married to have sex. That's basically what he's saying.
It's a false love, which is again, what are we dealing with in the world today? People loving themselves, lovers of themselves, right?
Right.
So they make things make sense to themselves, right?
You can't believe that, dude. He can't.
He does.
He can't believe himself.
Bro, he thinks
does.
he thinks that he's so smart that he has uncovered something, like he said, something novel.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
Not because she has been unfaithful, as some translations say. In other words, Jesus is saying if she has not prostituted herself, otherwise you ought to get a lawful Jewish divorce. The body, think about all of the scriptures that mislead people about what's happening in the text. Many modern translations of 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 13 say things like this in the NRSV. The body is not meant for sexual immorality, but for the Lord. Or the Living Bible translation that says this, another problematic translation, but sexual sin is never right. These translations give unlearned readers the impression that the text is saying that sex before or outside of marriage is wrong. But the Bible is not saying that. It is critiquing prostitution, the immoral and unjust sexual and economic exploitation of poor people, slaves, women, and young males who are oftentimes forced into prostitution in the first century. Have I lost y'all still with me today? Every time.
There's a lot of Marxist kind of interwoven talking points there. You hear him talking about slaves, the poor people, and forced into sexual slavery.
The word porneia, translated fornication, is used in the New Testament. It is talking about prostitution. It is not talking about or condemning consensual sexual relations. I told y'all this is the first time you have ever heard this preached in a church.
I wonder why. I wonder why, brother. Because you're making it up.
Is he putting right there his hand on his mouth again?
He was doing it after Jake said it. I noticed it like 10 times. Like
Talking,
he keeps doing it
because every time he's talking, he's saying he put his hand in his mouth. He's saying, "I'm lying.
Yeah,
I'm lying. I'm lying."
Sounds like he's eyeing up someone in the church. He's trying to preach it.
That's why I said he's Reverend Lonnie Love, brother. He's Lonnie Love. Wish he had this doctrine. He could have got him all the girls.
Teaching Christians that sex before or outside of marriage is a sin, may be tradition. It may be something that's been passed down from generation to generation. It may be something that you learned from an esteemed Bible preacher or teacher, but it is not something supported by the Word of God. There is no biblical basis for that teaching. I know this comes as a shock to many of you. It may sound sacrilegious,
but I guarantee you he's not going to debate anybody on
Nope.
Because he'll get destroyed.
It might sound sacrilegious. He's just wanting to do what he wants.
Yeah, selfish. Like that's been the theme of this show. Selfishness.
Now, I want to just get to the core of this stuff because we kind of talked about it, but if you think about, I said this before, men jump to solutions, women jump to conclusions. Right? And think about even us as the church, as a woman, right? So we can jump to conclusions, right? Why do women jump to conclusions?
Well, because a lot of times because they need to. I think it comes from fight or flight.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. It comes from it's anxiety, right? And then they put they go back to what they think keeps them safe, right? Fight or flight. They run or they fight for what they think is gonna keep them safe, but they take it on themselves, right? So they go back to, it's like a dog going back to the vomit,
right?
So it's connected in betrayal because betrayal is the whole root of this thing. Because if you think about sexual immorality, it is pointing back to God, how we are not one with God, how we separated ourselves from God, how we betrayed God, right? And in our fears, and you think about the woman who ate when she ate the fruit of the knowledge of the tree of good and evil, and she listened to the serpent, that little root there was for her to become secure in the identity that she thought suited her, that was kind of given to her by the serpent, right? It wasn't secure in Christ. It wasn't secure in God. See what I mean? She left God, and she let that root of thinking God didn't give her everything. See, that's where the betrayal is. So we are in that fallen nature, and we struggle in that betrayal. And every time we feel like, when you think about like with the husband and a wife, we're learning to trust in each other. We're learning to be faithful to each other, right? This is the work of marriage. But every time we're pressed, now we want to save ourselves and we want to survive. That goes back to betrayal. See what I mean? We go back to only trusting in ourselves.
Yeah.
And we feel betrayed, right? Especially women. Women will deal with this more than men, although men can too. And then when women feel betrayed, they put that on men. They jump to the conclusion, like, and your men are like, "Wait, I didn't even say that," and they're jumping to all these things, like saying all these things, and then men will be like, "All right, well, since you already think I'm this, well, I'll be that." Like men will think in that way, right?
Yeah.
So it becomes this. It's fear. It's all based in fear. It's all based in anxiety. Here's what's interesting. Remember last week when we were listening to the gay dude talk about, at the end, he was talking about how gay people in societies are like, they're called gatekeepers. Remember he was saying that?
Yeah.
And they're more, here's what's interesting. Why did he say that? I was thinking about this. Because gatekeepers, and if you think about most leaders, if you want to get into anything, right, and you want to be successful in most of these markets, you have to go through the gatekeepers. And a lot of times you're initiated through being sexually immoral, right? Because it's a submission, it's a way of submitting and joining together with that.
It's initiation.
You're being subjected,
right?
But you're joining together with that thing that now rules over you,
Yeah.
right? In order to be given access to it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But what's the root of it? It's through fear, right? You're afraid. So in order to get security, you submit to that initiation. You submit to that sexual immorality,
Right.
right? Because most women who cheat, or most women who will act in sexual acts, most of the time it's not in love.
Right.
It's in safety. It's in security. What's going to keep them safe? Even in terms of women are attracted, not the physical is not the main thing. It's how they view, is this man going to keep me safe if he's going to protect me? And it could be perverted in the way they see that, right? But my point is that that's what attracts them. The problem is a lot of times they're attracted to the wrong type of person.
Yeah.
Right. So what they think, the image that they have, is not actually what it is.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that pornea, or this sexual immorality, the reason why God hates it is because it corrupts what God created. God created sex.
Right.
And it comes from love. What does it point to? It points to intimacy back to God, because it points to us becoming one with God, right? And when you go away from that, you pervert it, and God hates when you are corrupting what God made.
Yeah.
When you are unmaking what God has made.
Right.
So now it's not easily seen. It's not easily understood.
Yeah.
When we live in the sanctity of marriage and how God created that, and we love God to therefore love our spouses, and we live under that love of God, and we grow in that love, we become the image of God, and we see that, right? It's like light. You see it, and it becomes a standard, and it's beautiful. It's the most beautiful thing. And when you corrupt that, you see how much destruction it does. Right. So these things are so evident. And I just wanted to talk about how deep it can go. Because the moment we accept these alternate things to keep us secure, to keep us safe, that's not God, right? to keep us free, right? To keep us in a place of strength, in a place of pride, right? All of these things I'm talking about. The moment we accept these lesser things, we submitted into slavery. We've just submitted ourselves under altars. And altars are connected to where it's an altar. Whenever you make an altar to a god, you're submitting yourself to that god, right? And it's like the spirit realm and the physical realm meet. And now you are transferring or able to enter into that power, but it also has power over you. And it's the same thing with us. We're slaves in Christ. Right? Through the blood of Christ, through the power of the blood, we're made new. Through the power of the blood, we're cleansed. Through the power of the blood, we're set free. Like all these things, we're saved, right? All these things happen. That's the ultimate altar. We've talked about this before. But we have to submit to it, right? The moment we submit to any other altar, we've just perverted God. And now it's hard to see. Hard for us to see and hard for others to see. And you become a standard for people. So now they think, oh, that's the way. Oh, that's the way. Oh, that's the way. Oh, no, there's many ways to God. You know what I'm saying? And then it becomes we accept anything. And that's what's going on here. This man has accepted stuff in his life to suit himself because it works for himself and he's seen it work for others. Well, if it works for them, how can it be God? If they're getting blessed, how can it be God?
Right.
And it's a total lie.
Yep. Yeah, man. It's just crazy to see how much false teaching is going on right now, man. Like so much is coming up. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is totally... I mean, this is teaching these people that probably are like, oh yeah, now we can go have sex. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah, because it, like, what do you get out of this? Like, what would be the point?
That's the point. To say, oh, there's nothing wrong with going and sleeping around.
There's no what else would it be?
There's no other point.
As long as you're not prostituting yourself.
Yeah, right. You're not in sin.
Do you see how like elementary that is and stupid that is? Foolish that is?
Yep. Crazy. All right, guys, let's wrap it up there. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate everybody. Appreciate you for calling in, James. Don't forget, if you want to support what we do, if you want to become a part of the community, you know, help us find content, join in on the chats, even jump in on the call. You know, you guys can jump in on there. We got to get Papa Jeff to come in on some of these calls too, man, one day when he's settled. I know he's on the boat all the time now. But, I know Courtney wants to jump in, a lot of the Patreon members. So, go on over to Patreon. The link is in the description. Become a member over there. Sign up, support what we do. Also, you can throw a little meat to the lions by hitting the Cash App and help us continue to fund what we do here. And we appreciate everybody. If you want to get merch, it's on our website, which is in the description as well. And we'll see everybody next week, man. Peace.
Young lion gon' live, yeah.